Hello, and welcome to the Butinerie, the honey farm of Bormes Mimosas. Today we will discover together how honey is made, from the bees' work in the hive to the beekeeper's work at the honey farm. But you didn't come here to look at me. On this screen, I'm going to show you some photos and videos, but instead, take advantage of this audio guide to look around, free your gaze, and explore the world of the bees. Oops, I forgot to introduce myself when welcoming you. I am Laura, Rémy Boulet's wife. Here we are beekeepers from father to son. Rémy learned the trade from his father, whom he has accompanied since he was a little boy, even in his cradle. We settled in Bormes a few years ago and opened this honey farm in 2019. Today we have a few hundred beehives. All of our production is carried out by the family, from the breeding of the bees to the production of our various honeys and up to the marketing of the product. To begin, come take a closer look at a beehive. At its height, it has around 50,000 bees. A bee colony consists mainly of female bees, worker bees. They are the ones who work the most and make the honey. There is also the queen, who is very busy because she is the mother of all of the bees. She spends her life laying eggs, up to 2,000 eggs per day. In the spring, there are also a few males in the hive, and their main task is to mate with the queen. You notice that the beehive consists of two different units. The large bottom box is called the deep hive body. This is where the colony lives with its eggs, known as the brood chamber, and its food supply. In the summer, when there are a lot of flowering plants out in nature, this is where the beekeeper adds a unit above the deep hive body. It is called a honeysucker. The honeysucker is in a way the honey addict of the hive. When the deep hive is already full of honey, this is where the bees store their surplus honey production. It is only the honey of these honeysuckers that we collect, in order to leave the colony its necessary food supply. So, how do our dear winged friends make honey? I'm not going to teach you that it all begins in the flowers. But what exactly do bees collect in the flowers to make honey? I'm waiting for your answer. But no, it's not the pollen. The bees come to collect the nectar. Nectar is a very sweet liquid located in the heart of the flower, which attracts pollinating insects. Bees suck this nectar and store it in a special stomach called the crop or honey stomach. It is in this crop that the nectar, in contact with the bee's saliva, begins to be transformed into honey. In order to complete the process, back at the hive, the bee passes the nectar to another bee from mouth to mouth. This honey is then placed in the honeycomb cells, and it is dried to increase its sugar content by the beating of the bee's wings. When the honey is finally ready, the bees seal the cell and the honey is stored for later consumption. And did you know honey can be stored for a very long time? It is said that the honey found in the tombs of the pharaohs was still edible. What about the flower's pollen? Indeed, the bee also collects the pollen. It is the larva's primary food source. As it passes from flower to flower, the pollen powder sticks to the bee's furry body as it sucks up the nectar. Using its legs, it will form small balls of pollen. It is when the bee's crop is filled with honey and its legs with pollen that it can now return to the hive. Making honey is a huge job for bees. 1 teaspoon of honey is the lifelong work of 12 bees. And to make a honey jar, they have to travel 85,000 kilometers or 1.5 times around the earth. Now that you know a little more about the life of bees and how honey is made, let's take a tour of the honey farm. You can move forward to point number 2.